Hey, thanks for joining me as we take a look at your weekend forecast for New Year's weekend. As you can see, I'm not in the office at the moment. I am doing some family Christmas things as we finish up this New Year's week, but did want to kind of give you an update on what's going to happen. Relatively quiet weather after a little bit of snow overnight tonight. So let's take a look at what's going on here in the forecast. As you can see, we have a storm here. We'll take a different look at it across the East Coast, and we have a storm here across coming in across California. This storm is what's going to bring us a little bit of snow. Some of this is lake effect. Certainly, some of this in this area is lake effect, but some here is going to make its way into southern Vermont, pivot into southern Vermont. And so we're going to look not for a ton of snow, but a coating, mostly later on this evening. So probably your evening activities are not too impacted, but we'll have to keep an eye on it. Let's take a look a little bit closer into home. And you can see not all of this is hitting the ground. This back here is more the oomph with the storm. This section, the section back over Lake Michigan and Lake Huron won't swing through until probably after midnight. That's when the steadiest of the precipitation happens. But some flurries before that could be a thing. So you have to keep an eye out. If you are out this evening, just keep an eye out on making sure that you're not that you don't get that the roads, if they're covered, just that you take it easy. So if we take a look at the satellite imagery, you can see after the storm passes, though, this storm out west is not headed in our direction anytime soon. And the flow is all kind of out of the northwest here across the eastern half of the country. And that's a cold and mostly dry direction for us. As you can see, there's nothing connected along the Atlantic or along where basically all this area along the Gulf Coast and the Atlantic coast is cut off moisture wise, and that means that our storms have been clipper like in nature, and really the pattern is it's good for cold, not a snow pattern though, at least currently. And we'll have to wait and see. But for the next week, we're looking mostly cold and not so much in the way of snow. Let's take a look at upper level. You can see part of this is the 500 millibar anomaly, gives you an idea of uh, of basically what's going on. We have this big kind of trough here across the eastern part of the United States. That's where basically colder air has been pushing south, essentially, and that's where low pressure at the surface tends to form, usually right in this area of the storm. And so as the system that's currently here, this little piece of energy heads into this area of the trough, it will get stronger, and it'll become a very big low pressure system. Well, that's probably a little too big that I drew, but it will become a big low pressure system, but not until it's well offshore. And so it'll help continue to funnel some of this cold air down in, but not cause kind of precipitation along the coast for us. So that's kind of the setup as we see it. If we go then to the temperatures, you can see we looked at this even last week. It really has not changed. We have this battleground here, which is where all of these weak systems are forming. And essentially to the north, it's obviously very cold here in Canada, up in this area. And to the south, it's pretty warm down here, relatively speaking. I mean, it's almost it's December 31st. So, but we have temperatures in the 50s, even some 60s across the southeast. Not unusual, but a little warm, and even some temperatures creeping up in the mid into the central plains that are relative quite warm for this time of year. But this cold up here in Canada, that's not unusual. 20 to 30 below zero up near the North Pole, not unusual. But it's that temperature gradient. So here we have a 47 degrees and minus 17, and there's it's just a few hundred miles, but not that far apart really. And that battleground tends to lead to the storms. But if you'll notice, it's all in kind of a direction like this. And that direction there, as the storms flow from west to east along the boundary layer there, is not the kind of direction. There's no dip really here. And since there's no dip, you can't get a storm that develops and starts to drag in Atlantic or Gulf of Mexico air. And so what happens with that means that these storms are moisture starved, which is why we're only talking about an inch or two of snow tonight. The only place that they can pick up moisture is right along the Great Lakes, but they dump all that moisture basically right at the shore of the lakes, which is why if you're in western New York or Pennsylvania, or certainly in the UP of Michigan or northern Michigan, you're getting hammered with lake effect snow. But for us here, not that much in the way of what's going on. So let's take a look at what that actually means forecast-wise for the rest of the weekend. By tomorrow morning, as you wake up on in 2026 for the first time, a few flurries left over, mostly cloudy skies. Will be becoming a little bit more sunny as you go. It's going to be chilly tomorrow, not brutally cold, definitely skiable. Could be a little bit of a breeze still, not significant wind though, and temperatures will be looking to be in the teens. It'll probably feel like about the upper single numbers, so cold. If you're skiing, you're going to definitely want to bundle up. Overnight, we drop down to about 0, so cold again. Not ridiculously so for this time of year, but definitely cold. Friday's a little bit better. We're going to basically gradually warm up through the week. Friday, basically full sun day, pretty good ski day as long as you bundle up. Shouldn't be much wind on Friday, and basically we're precipitation free after tonight, going through the rest of the weekend. Saturday a little bit warmer, Sunday a little bit warmer still not warm though, low 20s for the skier, for the mountains, especially the tops of the mountains. Tomorrow we're talking single numbers for highs probably today. Friday you might get to 10 and you're in the low teens to maybe 15 on Sunday. So it's cold up top. You definitely need to bundle up if you're going to be skiing, but that is definitely not undoable. Just means you got to be wearing the right gear. If you've got kiddos that you want to take out this week, and you can certainly do that too, but you're going to need to take a lot of hot chocolate breaks. So yeah, just be prepared for that. In terms of what it looks like a quiet weekend weather-wise, temperatures will be below average, but not unbearable. Definitely on the cold side, but not unbearable. If you're skiing, you're going to need to bundle up, as I just said. Winds will be persistent. A lot of light breeze kind of over time, which could be a little bit breezier at the mountain peaks. Just kind of, I don't think it's going to cause issues with wind holds, but I do think, except for maybe tomorrow, a few issues early in the day. But other than that, I think basically we pretty much are maybe a little breezy at the top, but not crazy. 1 to 2 inches of snow tonight. That'll be nice. Snowmaking weather will be really good. They'll be able to continue to work on keeping those conditions really good at the local ski areas. As we head into next week, we do look to warm up a little bit, and there may be a chance for some wintry mix or maybe mostly snow towards the end of the week. Doesn't look like a huge storm as we head towards the end of next week, but definitely pattern looks to warm up a little bit from where we have been now. This is my as my Wednesday forecast. This goes out to my patrons normally, but I want to give them a shout out and a quick thank you because on these weekends when there is kind of more going on, I tend to send these videos out also to the general public. So if you're watching this and you're not a patron, here's a list of my patrons. They help support what I do here at the West River Weather Guy. I really appreciate them. If you're interested in becoming a patron, there's a link in the description below that helps you know how you can do that. And I will be back with an updated look at this forecast. And I've got some plans to do some different kind of stuff to make the Facebook page a little bit more active as we go forward. So into 2026, I feel like the West River Weather Guy stuff has gotten a little stale. So if you're still here with me on the video, I do have some plans to change that up. Trying to fit it into my schedule, find ways where I can fit little chunks in as opposed to the bigger chunks that are needed for these videos. So we'll see how that goes. But thanks for supporting me. I really do appreciate it. I'll be back soon with